real. I actually don't believe in karma, because if karma was real, I think we'd see it more play out than it does. I think that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like, I mean, to me, I wrote that when Donald Trump became president, because that's the day I kind of thought karma might not be real.
So I wanted to just take a quick minute to comment on Miley, right? And what she had to say about karma. Now, I think that there's a misconception, and this is held by many people, that karma only relates to negative consequences resulting from someone's own actions. Now, we have to understand something. Karma is deeply rooted spiritual lessons. This is what karma is. And it can relate to our lives in many different ways. So as it relates to Trump, and this is an assumption because I'm obviously not talking to Miley, I'm thinking what she's saying is that in her perspective, it was a horrific experience to have him as president. So she felt like there were no consequences that he endured because of his actions, because of his behavior, right? But you have to understand something, Miley. Collectively speaking, Trump becoming president was a collective karma, right? This was something that America cultivated and harvested, right? Because of our own perspective, because of our own mindset, because of our own bigotries, right? These are different things that culminated, led to that experience. Now, there are many situations in your life, Miley, that if properly reflected on, would illuminate your own karmic battles, right? A great starting point is with your parents. What tendencies did your parents have, or do they have, that you don't resonate with, that you don't like, that you feel may have emotionally harmed you, right? What were their tendencies as parents? What were their tendencies as people? And the thing is, as children, we oftentimes will demonize these behaviors, but subconsciously take on the same behaviors. And that becomes a karmic pattern. And these are patterns that we will need to become fully aware of and break away from in order to navigate our own relationships in a healthier manner, right? Make better decisions for ourselves. In addition to that, reflect on your own behaviors. And I've seen quite a few from you. The concert where you were gyrating with the giant penises. And this is not a conversation about whether it's right or wrong, whether it's inappropriate or appropriate, right? Those are all, that's social programming, right? Morals and things like that, arguably. I digress. It's about energies, okay? They are learning experiences. So when you endure something like that, you have two options. You can either stand 10 toes down and say, this is me, like it or not. Or you start to internalize negative emotions, guilt, shame, and all of these things, right? And then you start to, and because of the fact that you are in the public eye, it's magnified. The attacks are magnified. The negative emotion resulting from your own behavior is magnified. Or perhaps serenading Pete Davidson when he was publicly in a relationship with Kim Kardashian. Another behavior that could be seen as a karmic pattern, right? Meaning it's related to our own MO. It's related to our own character deficiencies. It's related to our own tendencies. It's related to our own ego. It's related to our own shadow, right? These are aspects of our psyche that must be honed because they relate to how we navigate the world. They relate to how we present in the world. They relate to how we relate to the world, right? So it's important that we pay attention to these. When we're talking about karma, we are also talking about profound experiences, traumas, including things like heartbreak, which I know you sing about. Those are karmic energies. And another easy thing, right, that you can use, another technique you could use to identify certain karmic situations in your life is whether certain behaviors that you exhibit or belief systems that you hold keep you in a state of stagnancy and contraction or actually open you up, right? And allow for that expansion. When you've endured trauma, we change. We stop trusting. We lose purity and innocence and naivete. and we become hyper aware. We become somebody new. Now, there's a karmic problem with this, because essentially, when you are no longer willing to be open, that's stagnancy, that's contraction, that's negative karma. Now, this is obviously a topic I talk about almost daily as it relates to numerology and my number system. But you just have to hone your psyche. You have to allow your eye to become aware of these patterns, aware of these concepts, and then you will see it everywhere. I've done videos on different aspects of life that relate to karma. I've done so many videos on this topic. I've done videos on good versus negative karma and all of these things, right? Stagnancy versus shifts. We are in the year of good karma. We are in the year of positive karma and karmic shifts. It doesn't exempt us from difficulty, but it means that any difficulty endured is capable of bettering our trajectory, sending us into a better space. And one small tip, actually, that I want to add, as far as being able to better recognize the kind of karma you understand, right? Which is you do something bad happens, or something worse happens to you. Now, when we're talking about karma, we're talking about energies. So the situation oftentimes will be quite precisely exactly the same. But more often than not, it's simply about emotions. When it comes to something you've done or a negative way you've navigated a certain relationship or experience and have caused emotional harm to someone else, when you want to see that karma coming back around, first of all, karma always happens at the right time. It happens in certain cycles. It'll happen, for example, in an 80 cycle, a 50 cycle. So it depends on what the universe is doing in your life. Karma also loves to sneak up on us in 70 cycles, right? Because that is when we're connected to foes and in a dark space. I digress. Watch my numerology videos if you're interested. But when we're talking about certain situations, just pay attention to how something makes you feel. And then you'll be able to think and say, oh, I remember when I made someone feel like that. It might not have been intentional. That's never the question. It's simply that you at some point exerted that energy. And the universe has no choice, because we're talking about the realm of 8. We're talking about the realm of balance and justice. So in an 80 cycle, that's when those energies that you have sown will come back around, right? Or a situation where you may have judged something someone else was going through. So you will have to endure that same situation at some point in time.